internet way that we live. And I think that is telling to me that people are watching for that, for something that is not new. Black men just didn't start dating white women in 2025. And it is unfair to an individual and to paint NBA versus NFL. This is ridiculous kind of conversation. It's not serious. I don't engage in it.
Here's another tweet, too. I think it's from the same sister. But I'll let you respond. She says, we believe they delayed Shedeur being selected because he is the only athlete who could bring the ratings and hold the audience. If Shedeur would have been chosen last night, folks would have turned off the television. Your response.
I don't think that that's necessarily true. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Why would people turn off their TVs? It doesn't make sense. I think people the teams selected based on need, and they made an assessment. And the draft is the draft. Your position in that draft has no plays no determining factor on where your career will end. Shedeur will be selected by a team, and he will have an opportunity to have a career, which in the NFL goes very fast, except for a few people who have longer, extended careers. And to be honest, the NIL system has helped all of these young men where they don't have to go into this broke. There were people who came before them. Let's think about it's the 50th anniversary of Walter Payton's draft year. He came 1975. He was drafted into the NFL. He went fourth overall in the first round. Sweetness. He became one of the greatest running backs in NFL history. And I believe he came from Jackson State with pennies. He left and changed his life around, by the sweat of his brow. These young athletes are not facing the same thing. They are coming out of college these days with, some $1 million in their bank account. It's a different age. I'm more concerned about how they're managing that money that they have there and understanding what they can do to change lives. I don't care who they date. I want to know what they're and when you listen to Cam and you understand his story, to have a conversation about who people are dating when this young man has gone from not having a position coming out of high school, not being, selected, and making his way to the #1 draft pick. You're just overlooking a beautiful story and our story and going to the negative, where I think it's an opportunity to celebrate these young men. Most were African Americans in that draft, and their accomplishments and what it takes to do what they've done. Yeah, do our young people need more discipline across the board, and do they need to be educated? Do they need to be influenced? And, do they need to be listening to the Carl Nelson show every morning to get a good education, to start their education, a part of their education? Yes, I believe so. But where's that conversation? How do we?
Listen, we want to move on, but before I let you go, Dr. Robinson, you still sticking with your picks for the NBA final? Anything
Absolutely.
changed since?
Go Golden State. Well, I can't make a change. I can't change now because
you're still sticking with Golden State, even though Jimmy Buckets is injured.
He's injured. What kind of stance do you take when you wobble? I can't do that.
You got to be practical. One of their biggest players are out, and you're still sticking with them.
I gotta stick with him. And I said I said Cam Ward was going to be selected number one. I'm 2-0 on your show, Mr. Nelson. I picked the Eagles. I got Cam Ward right. I got a good track record for the moment. Everything is fleeting though.
That's true. So we'll see how you hold up with Golden State, though. We'll see.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson.
I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to your audience. Thank you, Carl.
That's Dr. Edward Robinson, teacher at Morgan State University, sports editor as well. 800-450-7876. Brother Gregory's on line 5. He's in Charlotte. Brother Gregory, Grand Rising, welcome back to the program.
Yes, Grand Rising, Brother Carl. Grand Rising, everybody. And happy Black History Year. We all need to study Black history to make sure Black history is never a mystery. Now, the Carl Nelson Show is about solutions, so let's take a look at a quote from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad where he provided a solution. And this is the quote: "A nation of our own. The poor slave, after his masters let him go free, his first problem to solve was securing a home of his own for the first time. He must now do for self. Master is no longer responsible for him. He must solve his own problems. He must now realize that he must work hard to be the equal of other nations. He must also remember that justice and righteousness is his defense, and wickedness his enemy, and the downfall of his government and his people. He must learn to make friends and to protect himself against enemies. He must dig into the earth for her rich treasures. He must now seek the friendship of other nations to do business with them and trade product for product. But if the slave is lazy, he will always be the slave for another. No nation respects a beggar. We, the members of the original Black nation of the earth, who were once lost from our own kind, are supposed to be free. It absolutely does not make any sense for us to be seeking integration with our slave masters' children instead of seeking unity among our own kind. A nation of our own is the solution." And I was listening this morning and inspired by Sister Fahima at the opening of the show, and looked at 3 Black history Googles pertaining to what she said. And the first Google is the nation of Burkina Faso. And we need to start studying that because it's in the news right now. The second Google is President Ibrahim Traore. That's the president of Burkina Faso. We need to look at his life and study him as a leader, as an example for all Black people. If the white man can have a leader of his nation, then Black people can have leaders of their nations. And the third Google is the wealth of Africa. And what that will show you is a fact. And it shows, to answer that question, why is America looking at Africa? 2 reasons. 1, there is more gold in Africa than any other place in the world. Let me say that again. There is more gold in Africa than any other place in the world. But what's the second reason? Trump loves gold. Okay, got some Googles on that. The first Google is Trump, the golden age of America. One of the highlights of this second term is this term, the golden age, defined by President Trump. The second Google is Trump Fort Knox visit. See, gold is at the center of this administration. The next Google is Trump golden goat statue. He actually has a golden goat, a statue made of gold at Mar-a-Lago. Next Google, Trump Oval Office gold. If you watch the news or get on the internet, you bring up the Oval Office, you'll see that it's been done. Everything has been redone in gold. So what we see from all of this, looking at Burkina Faso and this interest by America, is that Trump loves gold and Trump sees gold as power. Now let's look at the president of Burkina Faso, President Ibrahim Traoré, and do that first Google to look at his life. But there's a very important fact, and this is the Google. President Ibrahim Traoré is a geologist. He graduated with honors from a major university in Burkina Faso, and his major was geology. He's an expert in extracting minerals from the earth and processing them to make pure precious metals like gold, platinum, and silver. So Burkina Faso has a president who knows exactly how to extract their raw materials and turn it into wealth. Now, this is a key Google to understand why America is looking at Burkina Faso. The Google is yearly gold production rankings by the World Gold Council. That's yearly gold production rankings by the World Gold Council. And Burkina Faso is a small nation, but they're ranked number 13 in the world with 100 tons of gold per year. But guess what? The United States, that is many times larger, is ranked number 5 with 160 tons of gold per year. Now, I calculated how much money is 100 tons of gold per year that Burkina Faso is producing. And so you take 100 tons, multiply it by 2,000 pounds, and then multiply it by 16 ounces, and then the price of $3,000 an ounce of gold. And that equals $9.6 trillion a year. Now, why is that important? The federal budget of the United States is $6 trillion. So the small African country of Burkina Faso, led by President Ibrahim Traoré, could pay the federal budget of the United States of America with $6 trillion and still have $3 trillion left over. That's why they're looking at Burkina Faso, Brother Carl.
All right.
And I
thank you, Brother Gregory.
Yes,
sir.
your
thoughts this morning. We got to take a break. 18 minutes after top of the hour, family. It's an Overphone Friday. Free your mind and reach out to us at 800-450-7876. And we'll take your phone calls next.
This is WOL News Talk 1450 AM and 95.9 FM 959.
Families in Southern California are returning to the unimaginable ashes where their homes once stood. Over 11,000 homes and businesses in Altadena and Pasadena are gone. WOL is proud to join Brotherhood Crusade to help rebuild these communities. Your donation provides food, shelter, and recovery support. Act now. Visit brotherhoodcrusade.org to donate today.
Here at Urban One, we pride ourselves on supporting local and national Black-owned businesses throughout all of our radio markets. Since we began our Buy Black campaign, we like to spotlight some familiar and unfamiliar businesses in our communities. From arts and crafts, restaurants, clothing and apparel, heating, technology, electrical. One thing is true, Black folks have a business for everything you need, want, or could imagine. So let's show some love to all local and national Black-owned businesses, because when you spend money with the Black-owned business, you are helping your community as well as helping helping yourself. The businesses for this week are
The Continent, D.C. Premier upscale West African restaurant, thecontinentdc.com. Deloflix, a full-service creative marketing agency, deloflix.com. Greenwood and Archer, lending capital to real estate investors, Greenwood and ArcherLending.com. Thank you.
Are you facing an unexpected financial emergency? You need WeFixMoney.com. WeFixMoney.com could help you get up to $3,000 fast. WeFixMoney.com is free to use, available 24/7, and has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. Go to the name you trust, WeFixMoney.com. If you need emergency cash up to $3,000 for bills or anything else, type WeFixMoney.com directly in your browser. That's WeFixMoney.com.
Now at Verizon, we have some big news for your peace of mind. For all our customers, existing and new, we're locking in low prices for 3 years guaranteed on My Plan and My Home. That's future you peace of mind. And everyone can save on a brand new phone on My Plan when you trade in any phone from one of our top brands. That's new phone peace of mind. Because at Verizon, whether you're already a customer or you're just joining us, we got you. Visit Verizon today. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Now back to the Carl Nelson Show.
Hey, Grand Rising family, thanks for starting your weekend with us. Actually, the last weekend of April. It's an Overflow Friday. This is how we start our weekends. We'll give you a chance to free your mind. That basically means just think for yourself. Reach out to us at 800-450-7876. Let's take some more calls. Let's go to line 4. JR's calling us from Ohio. Grand Rising, JR, your thoughts on this Overflow Friday?
Oh, Grand Rising, Black Power, Black Nation. Thanks for taking the call. So let me try to move quickly here through a couple of things. First, I would like to shout out political prisoner Mumia. Not that he will hear this, but just with some energy, and I hope we continue to put positive energy his way. And I'm just going to say something controversial to the side. I have heard black folks say, well, Billy, he did do it. His evidence. Let me tell you something. If he did, quote unquote, do it, at this point, I wouldn't care. He done served plenty time and way more time than was needed for the pig. So not that I'm saying that he is, but I'm just saying. And shout out to any other political prisoners whose names we often do not know, including me, and any regular sister or brother who is under the sound of my voice in captivity, as you say, and that is true. That know that you shouldn't be there because, A, either you, quote, unquote, didn't do it, or you got disproportionately sentenced, which is a way bigger problem than black folks would give credit to. So shout out and encouragement to you. I have lived there myself for short bid, and you have my prayers and empathy, all right? So that was the opening. And then real quick, too, speaking of captivity, now I don't have time to go into this one deep because I want to get to the real point of my call for today. But Mr. Delson, it didn't hurt my feelings or nothing. At one point, a while ago, I was talking about me having having the brand of felon attached to my name. And, of course, I mentioned how offensive it is that somebody gets to be in a figurehead position such as that they call a president, and get to do that while others, we suffer greatly, whether you served a year, whether you served 20 years. We suffer greatly and can't even barely feed ourselves, because of that brand. Now, you said something along the lines of, at that time, well, okay, well, maybe you and him together, y'all you got somebody to keep you company on that felon line or something like that. I know it was in good fun, but I have been meaning to come back to it and just kind of say, first of all, me and him ain't got nothing in common. And the only problem with the comment is, unfortunately, it's too many black folks, well, society in general, but black folks that still demonize and brand folks with that word felon. Therefore, oftentimes you're negating people's beingness like we do all the time about a great many things. And it's unfortunate because it's a deep issue. And whenever I call myself felon, it's typically to be sarcastic because that's the word and the branding that happens. But there is nothing about me that is a felon because that is not who I am, whatever the reason was that I was put away. And I can assure you it was also politically affiliated. And lastly, shout out to the biggest queen, as far as I know, Queen Assata Shakur. I'm never saying that I was on her level, not even in the ballpark, but yeah, mine was politically motivated as well. So anyway, we just need to be careful about, the brand and the terminology because it already supports a very unempathetic look and understanding that most of us have and most society has about people who have been incarcerated or who are incarcerated. Now, quickly so that I can move to where I really called. I know that's a lot, all right. And again, I thank you for this opportunity. Like I said, it was not an offense. I hope you didn't take it as such, what I just said. Anyway, to the greater point for me in this time, I really wish we could remember the case for Black nationhood, which starts with the quote-unquote Black family, the case for the Black family. And that cannot be understated, starting with, one of my favorite topics, favorite is sarcastic, but about the vast, overwhelming number of Black sisters who are and who will be without a mate, without a suitable mate that is like us. Because see, that other caveman, cave woman, there was a famous song about last summer that even y'all old folks was talking about. It says, they not like us. Well, indeed, the cave people are not like us. And it's funny that caller should have called. I guess he's y'all new coach or what have you. He's exactly the point I wanted to speak to. He just happened to call while I was waiting. And it's the enabler aspect of people who, you write off the truths of the Black woman when we say what our truths are.
And Jared, hold on, because we got to connect the dots so people know what you're talking about. You're referring to the tweeter who tweeted about the brothers who at the NFL draft, and most of them were their families who were Black women, as opposed to the NBA, where many of them young brothers had white women on their arms, young white women. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. You are so right to make the context of, I'm assuming everybody know what I'm talking about. Yes, sir. But moreover, I'm speaking to his response even more than the statement that the sisters submitted, which, by the way, I kind of see what she's saying a little bit, too. Shannon Sharpe aside, Shannon Sharpe don't wipe out the idea that there could be some truth to what the sister said. But his response was so, I say funny, but it ain't at all funny. It's just that you got to laugh to keep from crying. The constant, all the time, always dismissing those of us who have great concern about this issue. This person actually sat there this morning, and again, it ain't about him. I don't know him, and I don't care to know him. But he represents what so many say, which is, well, see, now if you're looking for that, then you going to see that. And then it's something also along the lines is because, see, I don't care about that and this, that, and the other. And basically what I'm really saying is he was undermining the sister's concern, wherein, since you obviously don't care, him and, again, all whom he represents, maybe the better response, if you can say that, would have been, listen, I don't know, I don't get into it. But to go as far as to be dismissive of what the sister is saying, her concern, it doesn't mean what she said is, verifiable.
Well, let me put it this way, Jay. Is it a concern from the sisters? You in your circle, is black women concerned about what the I guess the optic of what they saw in the NFL as opposed to the NBA?
I don't know about that because I ain't got time. I ain't even followed it, but I know that it is of concern, generally speaking, as I continue to say. In fact, I keep saying, I wish you let me have a half-hour segment one day so I can break that down a little better. But yes, it's a consistent concern. Let me give you a quick example that something that is said a lot, which I also agree with. We often say the pale face. Yes, it's easy for him to dismiss us as a people and what our contributions are, the fact that we deserve repairing of all the harm done to us. And we'll say things along the lines of, yeah, well, you can do that because it didn't affect you. You can look the other way and dismiss us because you have the privilege to. And that's absolutely right. Well, I apply the same line of thinking to everyone. And by the way, not all sisters are conscious. I mean, let me make sure I'm saying that. You got some sisters that talk just as coonish as the things that I've been saying. But by and large, most of us who have silent voices on this issue because they're not taken seriously, they're not empathized with, and they are dismissed. Most of us, I think, would say, yeah, that's easy for you. You can look the other way. You can afford to. You have the quote-unquote privilege to look the other way and say you don't care and be an enabler. You can do that. And most of the time when I encounter coon sisters, by the way, it's usually because they already married, and probably they've been married for eons, or they'd have been married more than once, which is always an incredible irony for me. Those of us who ain't had it once. And contrary to belief, the first thing somebody's thinking right now, well, see, it's you. You could say that about me and a couple other sisters if the vastness of this issue wasn't so large. And it was interesting that you dropped the Umar Johnson name. I ain't talking about nothing else about him. I don't care about the controversy it brings up, but if he don't do nothing else with his arrogant, self-destructive self, if he stand on that about us, about we sisters and brothers, how much we need each other. And it's the very basis of strengthening black families and that black community that everybody's always talking about. It can't possibly be strengthened without the calling out of this issue. And he's the only one at that heightened popularity of quote-unquote black scholars, self-appointed or otherwise, who will absolutely stand on it and not just do the enabling thing, which is to say, well, now I don't got nothing to say about that because I got a black woman, but we can't get into who do what, and that's their opinion, and it's no effect on me. Most folks that talk the blackest say that very thing. So, also, shout out, and speaking of the same along the lines, the brother Haki, I don't remember what he said exactly that resonated with me way earlier, but shout out to that brother who was talking earlier, because whatever you said at the time, it was very resonant and relatable to what I'm saying. So I thank you for giving me all this time, by the way, because I noticed that some people that talk food talk and they talk across 2 and 3 breaks, it seems like. But, and again, that ain't no shade. You the host. You can do what you want. But I appreciate that because a lot of times again, me just saying this could be being dismissed as, oh, here we go, somebody else talking about that. But I guess what I'm ultimately saying, because you can't ever say everything needed to be said in one call, but it's, again, I speak to those who are doing it, but I'm now speaking more to the enablers of such behavior. Now, what do I mean by enabler? Because you could say, well, what is it I'm supposed to do about a Negro that's doing this, or the stars that's doing that? But most importantly, those that's right around you who are doing this. Well, I'm glad you asked, because I don't expect you to, quote unquote, do anything. In fact, I don't even expect to change your enabling mind. My point for saying all this is not that, because we all know, Bob McCall, that we are never going to be able to reach those who have got a certain place in their mind, which is why I always say one solution is going all the way right around, catching them at the youth level before they enter their youth level. You got to catch them early, preschool, grade school. Nonetheless, what I am asking, you ain't got to agree with a thing that I'm saying, but if you got any drop of sense or spirituality or keeping it real, quote unquote, I'm asking that you would pause on that line of thinking. Just catch yourself a little bit, and definitely catch that tongue before you dismiss all Black women that are concerned, and just pause. Just think on it a little bit. Just give a little bit of empathy. That's all I'm asking for you, the enabler. Give some, incline your ear, so to speak, to just know that you cannot possibly dismiss all Black women and the great truth that many of us will absolutely end up alone. And coming to a close, because I, again, appreciate this time. You know, I'm only prefacing to say real fast that I am one of the sisters. I consider myself most closely.
WOL. The WETA Local Series Signature Dish is back. Join Seth Tillman on a culinary adventure across the D.C. area for that one-of-a-kind dish you must try. On Monday, explore local plant-based meals and menus, celebrating the diverse fare of vegan comfort food. Tune in on Mondays at 9 p.m. on WETA PBS and 8 p.m. on WETA Metro. Or if you're on the go, stream it on the PBS app.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owed the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-279-6822. 800-279-6822. 800-279-6822.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stopped, opt out. Individual results may vary. Consult a doctor prior to use.
You've lost so much weight. How'd you do it?
I got medical treatment for weight loss through Zelty and lost 50 pounds. I struggled for the longest time, but Zelty makes it easy and affordable to get weight loss treatment 100% online. Zelty providers can prescribe FDA-approved weight loss medication medications clinically shown to help people lose weight, like Wegovy, Zepbound, and others.
I've heard those medications can help you lose weight, but aren't they expensive?
Zelty can help get the medication covered by insurance, so it's as little as $0 a month.
What if you don't have insurance?
No problem. Zelty may be able to help you get other GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% off the price of name brand medications.
I'm ready to start losing weight. How do I get started with Zelty?
Just text.
Text SMILE to 200-300 to get started today with Zelty and see if weight loss medications like Wegovy and Zepbound are right for you. Don't wait. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text SMILE to 200-300. That's SMILE to 200-300. SMILE to 200-300.
Now back to the Carl Nelson Show.
And family, thanks for starting your weekend with us. The last weekend of April. It's an Overphone Friday. This is how we roll on Fridays. We give you a chance to free your mind. And sorry about that, JR. The computers just take over. The computers are on autopilot. But before we go back to you, let me just remind the folks, some of the people are going to stop by next week because former FBI agent Dr. Tyron Powers is going to be here, along with attorney Billy Murphy from Baltimore and Reverend Dwayne Simmons, and also former Senator and attorney Jill Carter will be here. All going to talk about Baltimore 10 years after the Freddie Gray riots. Also, physician scientist Dr. Velva Bowles. Dr. V will be here. For those folks who took the jab, she says she's come up with some research and may help. Also, Mark from Anaheim's going to stop by. That's going to be a surprise. And holistic doctor, Dr. Sharita. She's a holistic doctor working in Ghana now. She's going to call us from Ghana. So if you are in Baltimore, make sure your radio's locked in tight on 1010 WLB. If you're in the DMV, we're on FM 95.9 and AM 1450 WOL. All right, JR, can you wrap it up for us real quick?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm glad you said that because I was confused. Like, if Carl was talking, if Papa Carl was, I didn't hear nothing. I didn't hear no music. Okay, real quick. So, yes, basically, because I don't know where it cut me off or what have you, just to say, I've said a lot, and I know, like I said, you can't get it all in one call, but just pause and consider the empathy that we deserve. And before any fool come behind me talking about the whataboutism is what I call it, or what about the black women what about the black women dating white men? I ain't talking about that right now. I'm talking about this, and you won't move me from that square. We do need to develop a certain empathy as well, a whole different lecture. But I'm asking you for that, and just think about it, because none of the cases that these folks keep calling about, we need to circulate the black dollar. We need to stick together. Let me tell you something. Without the case and for the preservation of the black family, none of it will ever happen. And I'm happy to offer solutions yet again another time. But Black Power, Black Nation, the black man was absolutely made for the black woman and vice versa. Thank you, Baba Nelson.
All right, thank you, JR. And a lot of support, a lot of tweets coming in supporting JR. Thank you, JR. Thank you for your thoughts this morning. 17 away from the top of the hour. We had some issues there with our computer. But let's go to Johnny calling on line 1. He's calling from Long Beach out in California. Grand Rising, Johnny, your thoughts on this Open Phone Friday?
Hey, Carl, thanks for taking my call. I was actually, he should tell my number about Shannon, but I don't know.
Before you go to Shannon Sharp, though, let me ask you the question, because this is what JR was talking about. I was kicked off by a sports guy, Dr. Robinson. Somebody called in and said, I don't know if you watched the draft, the NFL draft last night, and someone tweeted the fact that and this was a female sports supporter or sports lover, if you will, said she was happy to see so many of these young brothers with their black families, as opposed to the NBA draft, where many of the NBA players had women of other races, and she thought that was complimentary. And this is what JR thought, that Dr. Robinson didn't really attack that issue. So I want to get your thoughts on that. Did you notice a difference? Is this something that society should be looking at, or is it too deep, or is it just frivolous? Is it the football players are more grounded than basketball players, or is it basketball players are mostly inner city, or as opposed to the football players being, some sort of rural? I don't know where to go with it, but that was an observation made by a female sports lover, and she texted that, and that was the question that we put to the sports guy, Dr. Ed Robson, and JR didn't like his responses, put it that way. So I just want to get your thoughts on that.
I know what you're talking about, and I've often wondered about it, but then I've come up with some thoughts that maybe that, it's not that, attitude, it's like, it's the attitude thing that they accuse black women of having. It's like they get in your face, and cause I had a conversation with a woman last night. That was a good friend, and I asked her about the same thing. And then maybe I was thinking maybe that white women are more adventurous. And that's not true anymore. It used to be. I mean, but black women do the same thing that white women do now. So it's not that. So the only thing I can think about, man, is this, that they don't want to get the attitude, and always up in your face, and and white women,
right. Let me put you back on your square, because you started to say something about Shannon Sharpe, and I know there's a racial component to what happened with Shannon Sharpe. He seems like he's made a huge mistake. So I'll let you go down. I'll bail you out on that one.
Shannon likes white women. That's one of his things. He desires white women. And then the brother.
He's got Johnny. That the lady sees another white woman has come out and accusing him of sexual assault. So that's two. He's got. I don't know if he's in the race with Diddy, but it doesn't look good. But go ahead and finish your thought.
Carl, I'm telling you, it's like, man, it's like when you get caught up in that world, okay, and I know about the world. I know about that world. It's like it's flesh. It's flesh. It's about flesh, okay. And that a lot of men get caught up in that, up in that. I think that's what Shannon got caught up into. It's like he's looking at her as a piece of meat, and then when you do kinky things, man, it's like sometimes people are not in the mood to do those things, and then that's when you get those things. Well, hey, it's like, well, I wasn't cool with it right now, maybe yesterday I was, and I think that maybe he may be caught up in something like that. I don't know. That's what it appears to be, that these things happen when she wasn't in the mood, or he was, he may have been pissed off at her.
Well, let me ask you this straight up. Do you think he was set up? I mean, you're going to have sexual encounters, and people, I know people like to film these kind of things, but I don't know if it was done surreptitiously or it was open, and then they finish, they laugh and giggle about it. But do you think he was set up, though?
It's kind of funny, man, that it's coming out now. Why is it coming out now?
Well, that's the question, because he's got $100 million deal on the table, and that's in jeopardy right now. So that's why my question is: do you think he was set up?
Yeah, because I don't think that they want. It's from a podcast, isn't it? That $100 million, and he's supposed to be that contract that he signed. And then I think that somebody sabotaged it. That's it. But I don't know why this would be. I don't know why this was sabotaging him, because this was a consensual, okay, and it's like, and she's saying, well, the two times that it wasn't. That's what I told you. It's like there are times when people do things, and they get caught. It's like they're doing this thing, and then all of a sudden it's like, the person, hey, I'm not, I didn't. That's not what I wanted this time. So when a woman is saying no when she's done this before, that's where
but no means no, Johnny, regardless of whether it's done before or after or last year.
Man, you know what, man? I understand no means no. However, it's like when a man's put in that position, it's like that's like calling up a dog that's attacking somebody, man. And I know I'm gonna catch you in that, but that's what it is. How can you call somebody off now that that you got them there, okay? And if you really didn't want to go there, then you should have made it clear. I'm not going there this time. So that.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me put it straight up. Can Shannon Sharpe salvage his career behind this?
Yeah, but it's gonna be a minute. It's gonna be a few years, man. He had to come back in a few years like everybody else does. But it's sad though, man. He shouldn't even have to salvage anything. Okay, it's like he likes kinky sex, and it's like
Okay, you said he likes kinky sex. Did you think the race of the partner had anything to do with it? Do you think it would have gotten this much coverage if he had done this with a sister?
No, that's what I'm talking about, man. It would have been a black woman, because she wouldn't have said anything. That's the first thing. The sister wouldn't have said anything. The white woman is like, she's coming out and they get bad, man. There's written stuff that which she it goes to anal, man. Like, she is into that, okay? And it's like a lot of men are into that, okay? So it's like, and when a woman, says she go that way, it's like, men find them more interesting.
Wow.
And I'm not, and I do, these are some of the things that I do know about some things in life, and who I ain't talking about myself, but it's like, come on, men do manly things, and I guess they consider that one of the manly things that, when a woman says that she likes that men really get hyped up for that, man. So.
But interesting that you think he can salvage his career. Do you think he's employable now? I mean, the stain is, even if they go to court and he wins, the stain's still going to be out there, forever. His name is rapist right behind his name.
Well, see, that's just it. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. Because
you don't think he's going to go anywhere? And the fact that he tried to pay her off too, and she rejected that.
Right, $10 million. If I tried to pay you up $10 million, what makes you think that if you got $50 million, you're gonna go away, or it's not gonna come out? It's out now.
Yeah, but the fact that he tried to pay her off, doesn't that sort of imply guilt? Why would you pay her off if you're not guilty? If you didn't think you could win the case?
Well, that's it's like, man. Sometimes when you mess with, they say if you lay down with dogs, you get fleas. And that's what it is. Like, he chose this. Is like, and he didn't know that she would probably stand up to him because she's only 19. When it happened. And she got a kid now, man. If she has a kid, I mean, she has another man now, don't she?
I don't know that part. I'm not fully apprised of the whole situation, but I know that Shannon's got children older than her, and she was, basically. They're selling this. She was a teenager, and he took advantage of her. That's this big brute black man took advantage of her, and she was telling him no. That's how it's being played out, and that's why I asked you if you think he can salvage his career behind this.
Carl, I think he can, but it's not. Right now, it took a major hit right now. Okay, I mean, he does his own thing anyway. He has his own podcast. Okay, so it's like and that's controlled by people, okay? Businesses don't have nothing to do with that, and I'm quite sure there's some, that they have sponsors and everything, and he'll
so you're saying that ESPN, even if ESPN does not touch him again, he can still make money on his podcast. You think people will forgive him and still listen to his podcast despite what the allegations?
Of course, man. It's like, what was it? It wasn't like he beat her. He didn't beat her. So that's one thing he does. He has going in his favor, and he never put hands on her.
No, Johnny. They said he choked her too. She said he choked her.
Carl. It's like, I wasn't paying attention to this thing, man, at all. I happened to see it one day. I glanced by it, and I really never got in depth with it. But I didn't know that he put his hands. Well, man, if that's the case, then man, he may not bounce back with this for a long time if he ever bounced back from it at all. Anyway, and it's like, it's always the brothers, man, that got something going for him, man. They're business, man. I don't get it, man. It's like,
all right, that's another issue. If it was a mailman who did that to her, do you think this would be a story, or just a guy who works at a bank, a regular Joe, did that to her? Would this be a story? Would this be in all over the news? Would this be discussed in our barbershops this weekend and in the beauty salons this weekend? Would this be an issue?
No, it wouldn't. It would not be an issue. It happens. It has to be with, and then it's, you have to remember it's the black and white thing. Okay, so that's another thing. It's like the black and white thing, which takes precedence over everything. Just about, that she's a 19-year-old white girl, and it's like basically a kid, and he was in his 50s when he did this. It's like, and it's like, and then this woman I was talking to last night, she said, that's the problem with black men. It's like, or with men, period. It's like they want to get these young girls, okay? And I understand that, man. It's because, it's like older women, when you with them, it's like they don't feel as good as the younger woman. I get all that. But you have to think about the consequences.
We're going to get some tweets on this. I know the sisters are probably calling, but go ahead, Johnny. I'll let you out there by yourself. Speak about older women, but go ahead.
No, man, it's like, if we're going to have a candid conversation, man, you have to talk about these things, man. What drives men or people, even women, to even submit to something like that, man. I'm just saying, it's like, we're human beings, man. We do some stupid stuff, and this is one of them, Shannon just had to do something.
Here's the other issue, too, Johnny. It plays into this thing that white folks think that black men have a fetish for their women. That's what scares them the most. Dr. Welsing talks about it quite a bit. So,
and you know what's wrong? I don't think it's just prevalent as it used to be. I think that now it's like, it's because there used to be like, if a white woman got with a white woman got with a black dude, that she would never go back to a white dude. Well, that's not true, anymore. I don't know if it used to be ever before, but that's not true, And I know cases that that women have gone back to white men, and vice versa. Black women have messed with white men and gone back to with brothers and stuff. I think it's just happened to do with, and he has money, man. It's like, and then she's not broke either. And that's another, she's not broke.
And she won't be broke after this. But, Johnny, we're going to end it right there. Thank you for your thoughts. We'll see if folks agree with you.
Take care.
Family, it's an Open Phone Friday. Things we discuss here. If you want to join the conversation, reach out to us at 800-450-7876. And we'll take your phone calls after the short break.
$14.50 WOL.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Individual results may vary. Consult a doctor prior to use.
If you've struggled to lose weight in the past, this important message is for you because you could lose as much as 50 pounds or more with Zelfie. Zelfie makes it easy and affordable to get weight loss treatment 100% online. Zelfie providers can prescribe FDA-approved GLP-1 weight loss medications clinically shown to help people lose weight like Wegovy, Zepbound, and others. Plus, help get the medication covered by insurance so it's as little as $0 a month.
The doctors are super helpful, and the meds have been a game changer. It's the first program I've had success with.
Before Zelfie, I was unable to lose weight, even though I was eating healthy and exercising 6 days a week. Zelfie helped me not only lose weight, but I feel so much better.
Text GOAL to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie and see if weight loss medications like Wegovy or Zepbound are right for you. Don't wait. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text GOAL to 200-300. That's GOAL to 200-300. GOAL to 200-300.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-672-6688. That's 800-672-6688. Again, 800-672-6688.
1450 WOL, Washington, D.C. 95.9 W240DJ, WMMJ HD3, WDCJ FM HD3, and worldwide at WOLDCnews.com.
The views and opinions of the following show do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of News Talk 1450 WOL, Radio 1 Incorporated, or their management.
The Carl Nelson Show.
You're rocking with the most awesome miss. All right, let's go.
If you want our vote, then you will have to do this. But not being in a situation where we are depending on any people who classify themselves as white to save us. See, somebody might say, well, what else are we going to do, Dr. Welsing? I say, what we're going to do is fashion a weapon of black self-respect, the likes of which the world has never seen.
All right. Dr. Frances West Welsing. She needs to talk to Shannon Sharpe. I wish she was here. I wish she got some of her tapes. Because that's what she's talking about. Family just joined us. It's an Overflow Friday. Thank you, Kevin, for sharing that with us. And so appropriate. And this is an Overflow Friday. This is what we start our weekends. If there was a topic that you think we should have discussed and we didn't, or even if we did, and somehow you think we came up a little light, hit us up. Or if there's something going down in your corner of the world and you think the rest of the universe would benefit from hearing about it, as long as it's free and legal, we'd love to hear from you. So free your mind and then reach out to us. Again, our number is toll free. It's also worldwide. It is 800-450-7876. I get so many tweets about about what was going on. Oh man, it's just incredible. Some brothers say they're on the side with Shannon, and some of the sisters says that they're on the side with Shannon as well. That's interesting. Some say they're on the side with the other side with the women. I know this is going to be a topic that's going to be discussed this weekend in our barbershops and also our beauty salons. But hey, it's a story that's out there, family. So that's why we're talking about it, and that's what people are talking about. That's what we do here on this program. 3 after the top there. Let's take some more calls. So let's go to Palm Beach County in Florida. Carl's on line 2. Grand Rising. Carl, your thoughts on this Open Phone Friday?
Grand Rising, Carl. You know, as we prepare our minds and our thought process for this Mother's Day that's coming up, and we've celebrated Mother's Day in the past, and we haven't really achieved anything. I hope this time, with the degree of problems that we have, the multitude of problems that we have facing us, that we would introduce to our family. I wish our churches could take our sisters into some orientation as it relates to Dr. Julia Hare, Dr. Joy DeGuire, Shahrazad Ali, Janice Hale, Sister Ava Muhammad. And I'm not talking about sisters that are just talking. I'm talking about sisters that have a track record of trying to make some advancements for those of us who have been here in the bounds of North America and been imposed by this kind of problems that we have. Carl, if I could ask you, say, like, you're a surgeon, you're a doctor, I mean, not a surgeon, say a doctor, and you've been performing a lot of surgeries, and today we had to deal with the mind. What would you say would be the problem of the so-called American Negro?
We don't know who we are.
Okay, but then how would you give a diagnosis? What do they call it when you tell the person what they're going to do?
Well, you know, if you know who you are, you don't get involved in all that other stuff. If you know who you are, that's why Asha Quashi is one of his themes is know thyself. You know what those issues are. And part of the plan, what they do for the oppressor is to confuse us. It's nearly full of, it says, if you understand how racism, white supremacy works and everything else that you think you understand only serves to confusion. Dr. Fox says we're addicted to white, and because we don't know who we are. If you know who you are, you won't be addicted to white. But that's my answer.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly. But then when I think about AI, and I think about the way that they utilized the human AI before they came into the computer, they utilized all of our college graduates. They turned them into Greeks as opposed to turning them into Africans. They made them something that comes directly against themselves. When we look at
Carl, if you know who you are, you can't be turned into anybody else. If you know who you really know who you are, you won't be Greek. So I don't want to knock anybody who's a member of a Greek organization, but if you know who you are, you wouldn't want to be a Greek. You wouldn't want to take a pledge or all that stuff because you know where it comes from. But again, let me let you finish your thought.
But then knowledge comes in degrees, just like light. You know, you got to have a starting point, and then most of the time we don't understand how to get started because the people that talk to us, they make us a South as opposed to giving us a piece of bread or meat. And when I say that, I look at the activity of Minister Farrakhan. You don't hear his voice. You don't hear nothing about his work. And this man did this tremendous amount of work on our behalf all over the globe. And we never mention him. And then we talk about how our culture is being erased in the schools and everywhere else. And when people talk, you know, just like some people are behind the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, some people behind Marcus Garvey and others, I'm behind Farrakhan. And he's a living human being, right? A living man that has a reputation. But then when we come into the conversation, people don't want to talk on that level because of his focus as it relates to the problems of America. I don't think there's ever been a black man in America that has been opposed like Mr. Farrakhan has been opposed on our behalf, not only here in America, but all across the globe. And most people don't know his history. And last we heard that brother try to compare the old, what we perceive as the old nation against the new nation. And then he saw a difference as opposed to looking at the furtherance of the activity of the Nation of Islam. And the Nation of Islam, if you ever read the Message to the Black Man, the messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he dedicated that book to the so-called American Negro, and he promised them freedom, justice, and equality and all those other things if he would just accept his own. But what we indulge in, when I talk, Carl, I'm here in Florida, and we have a Florida law that says African and African American. Don't just say African, and it don't just say African American, but it shows you the duality of the reality of the understanding that must be acquired. And most of the time, we don't have that kind of understanding because the people that those college degrees people that I talked about earlier, they don't have that inside of their understanding. And here in the state of Florida, they openly admitted that they didn't give that to all our PhDs, JDs, all our degree brothers and sisters. They didn't give them the knowledge of themselves, same thing that you talked about earlier. But as a result of that, we still haven't figured out how to do it. And a classic example for me was when I heard that brother that was talking on your show, and he was talking about how he had took Verizon and made it like right now, everybody know what Verizon is and the power that it has. And then he didn't build it at the same time for us. And then now he's taking his skill set and moving somewhere else. And I don't think that we take the time to understand what the Negro problem is. And from my perspective, the Negro problem is what Carter G. Woodson talked about, the miseducation of the Negro. And we still, as a family, haven't really delved into that kind of real understanding, I don't believe. Even like when I hear brothers talk about Al Sharpton, at least the brother making a mark. And most of the brothers that talk about him, they can't even walk at their front door. And sometimes people acknowledge that they've made some kind of accomplishment. But the process of slavery produced all this kind of activity. And I continuously ask everybody, if you don't listen but 1-2 hour lecture, go to our big brother Amos Wilson, and he goes into a lecture called Beyond White Supremacy. We always talk about white supremacy, but he talks about the activity once you go beyond, and then he explains how we get involved in all of that kind of activity. And we got to understand that they've been on us with the mind-altering chemicals. When I was coming up, it was moonshine. And then they moved into the pharmaceuticals like Red Devils and all of the other little pills and stuff they started. And then it came with the cocaine and the heroin and everything else. But it's been a track. If you understood the progression of black people, then we would understand how they've been doing different things to us. But most of the time, we're reactionary people, and we just follow through with whatever somebody say. Like right now, everybody talking about Trump, but don't nobody talk about us. I was pleased to hear the brother this morning talking about the opportunity for us to have hotels, and I heard that PGA, which is that's big time inside of Palm Beach County, and like now to have the opportunity to hear that we got some involvement in that. Hopefully we might be able to retrieve some of that, because we here in Palm Beach County are raising the bar as it relates to academic performance, not just say conversation. And to any human being that's on this planet, I would ask you to contend with the Florida Statute 1003.42H. And that's a Florida law that stipulates that the educational system here in the bounds of North America need to be altered, and it need to include the history of African and African Americans, and that's across all disciplines and all grades, all subject matter. And that's a challenge for us as a family, but we already have one foot in. If we would just take the time to listen to some of the people that are really directing us, as opposed to this culture that we've learned how we try to make money off of likes and popularity and saying stuff that's going to excite people, like what we do in the churches and other places. I just hope that we're maturing because of the situation that we're in, that we can look at the reality of what we're trying to achieve. And when we talk about mating, like we were talking about with the football players and the basketball players, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan shared with us that was one of the three sciences that they promised not to never teach black people: economics, warfare, and mating. And because those three sciences, if we had the real rudiments and the real understanding of those kind of sciences, we would be able to navigate ourselves in a different direction. But because our degree brothers are void of that kind of knowledge, they come in, and right now, Carl, all of our degree brothers, they're lawyers, they're mayors, they're judges, and everybody, and they work for other people. They don't work for us. If they was working for us, we would have a reality that our conversation wouldn't even be what we're talking about. So what it is for me, it's the mind, the control of the mind, and those that are in authority and have the resources, they continuously do the same thing, and they get us excited about Shannon Sharp and all that other foolishness, and we don't stay focused on the idea of what really have happened to us as a people here in the bounds of North America. And I'll leave with this. The so-called American Negro problem is the problem of America. That's the reason why we have a problem with reparations, education, housing, and politics, and all those other things, because the Negro problem, when you put it on the human frame of understanding, their problem is the greatest problem, because they've had the greatest injury, transgression against God ever to be seen or ever to be heard of in the annals of history. And for the woman, y'all supposed to help us meet our glory when we meet the inner God inside of ourselves. And if you would love us, then we would produce some kind of different reality for ourselves. But we understand that you've been confused because you've been bombarded with television, radio, and all these other things that are utilized to take your mind in a different direction. I just pray sincerely that we would understand and then try, because you got to practice. You got to do like what Allison said. You got to practice. And if we would start this Mother's Day to introduce our families to, like, all our churches, just think if all of them were introducing Julia Hare, Joy DeGueur, and Shalazar all over the country, and then we could bring some conclusions, particularly Janice Hale out of Detroit, because she deals with early childhood development, and just get some direction on what we're going to take our minds into, as opposed to just getting a smorgasbord and eating everything, chitlins and everything. And thank you, Carl, as always, man, for allowing me the opportunity to break bread with you.
All right. Thank you, Carl. 14 after the top there. Let's keep rolling. Let's go to line 3. Marvin's in Baltimore. Grand Rising, Marvin, your thoughts on this Open Phone Friday?
First of all, Carl, how you doing this morning, man?
I'm still learning, brother.
I'm learning, too, because let me tell you one of the reasons why I'm learning. when I first came to your radio station, when you first came out, right? Remember I used to come on and then maybe some things I would say or this or that. You may not agree to, but you knew how to adjust it right and get me out of there. And I was still talking, I could cut off. And the first thing you would tell the person on the radio station with you, don't worry about it. He'll come up to speed. He'll come up to speed. Just leave him alone. Leave him alone. So I got to thinking, man. I say, man, this man is something else. So then I said to myself, wait a minute. I do have to come up to speed if I got to meet the requirements of what Carl told me to do. So that's what I did, and things went just fine. So let me tell you something, Carl. What our people, as being black in America, must have forgot. See, we're the most copied off people in the face of history. I mean, in the face of history. Everybody copied off of us. It's almost like if we ain't here, they can't live. But let me tell you something. What I really got to say is about the black woman. See, the black woman was the most feared person on the face of the earth with that body she had. With that body she had one of the best bodies out there on earth. All the women of all races knew that. And these women of these races knew and seen and looked at that black woman and said, my God, she looked good. And they was trying to figure out how can they get a body like that. The white women, the Asian women, Chinese women, all those women out there, everybody, and I'm not just blaming one race, I'm blaming all the races, wanted to get a body like a black woman in the Texas that she had. They had to figure it out, Carl. And what they figured out is simply, we got to do something to figure out a way to rob the black woman out of her genes so we can experiment and get that same type of body. So what they came up with was the idea was the wig. They gave the black woman the wig, and the black woman, they enjoyed the wig and just went off, went crazy. And when they went off and went crazy, they was getting robbed out of their genes of how their body looked. The black woman would run around, wear that wig, body steady dropping. And they couldn't understand what was going on. These people was robbing them and taking what they had and using it. And now you see all women all around the world. Even listen, Chinese women was the smallest women there ever been. But now Chinese women got bodies like black women now. They robbed the black woman.
Well, let me jump in here for a second, Marvin, because what you're saying is actually correct. And you know, we saw that with the Kardashians. They're trying to get that hip shape that many of our sisters have. They've been copying and trying to, you know, change their hair. But now that here's what's happening now. They said that's no longer in fashion, in vogue for white women since the Trump administration has taken over. They're going back to what before, you know, with the iron board in the back. You know what I'm talking about. They say that's trending for black folks. But go ahead. These
women ain't gonna never leave that alone because that's like glory to them. And you see, and trade, like you're going to say, and trade.
I know that thought there because I interrupted your conversation. I'll let you finish on the other side. It's 18 minutes after the top. They are Families with Open Phone Friday. Wow, you never know what you'll hear on Fridays. Reach out to us at 800-450-7876. We'll take all your phone calls next.
News Talk 1450 AM 95.9 FM 959.
Families in Southern California are returning to the unimaginable ashes where their homes once stood. Over 11,000 homes and businesses in Altadena and Pasadena are gone. WOL is proud to join Brotherhood Crusade to help rebuild these communities. Your donation provides food, shelter, and recovery support. Act now. Visit brotherhoodcrusade.org to donate today.
This is Reality Radio. a mega expression of gratitude to our participants in Urban One Cares, our fundraising effort to assist the residents of Altadena, California, devastated by the wildfires that raged unabated for 24 days. Over 11,000 homes were totally destroyed, and according to the tax records of 2023, over 80% of the Black residents of Altadena are homeowners. Imagine being required to continue mortgage payments but have no place to live, no car, no clothes, no food, and no money. And that's why Urban One Cares was created. In partnership with the Brotherhood Crusade of Los Angeles, to date, nearly $600,000 has been distributed. 10 cars have been gifted, and thousands of families have located temporary housing. Regardless of the amount, please make a contribution today. Go online to brotherhoodcrusade.org. That's brotherhoodcrusade.org, and be a part of Urban One Cares. This is Reality Radio with Kathy Hughes. What's your reality?
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they helped me. They calmed me down. They made me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-481-8144. 800-481-8144. 800-481-8144.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Now back to the Carl Nelson Show.
Hey, Grand Rising family, thanks for rolling with us on this Friday. This is how we start our weekends. We'll give you a chance to free your mind. Reach out to us at 800-450-7876. We're speaking of Marvin in Baltimore. Before we go back to Marvin, though, a couple of tweets I want to share with you. Tweeter says, pray for the brothers caught up in a snowstorm. That was one tweet. Another one says, if we don't think that the optics on TV of black athletes and white issues is not a dynamic, we are blind. So some of the tweets are coming in, quite a few tweets discussing what was going on. But Marvin, I'll let you finish your thought.
Let me tell you how the black woman get the black man out of the storm. Take the wig off your head and come back to the natural state that God made you. Because God didn't make no mistake when he made the black woman with nappy hair or with a fine body. You see, like I say, you trade the difference. Look at you, black woman. You got the body. You got everything that everybody wants. They need what you got. They dying to get what you got, but you just can't see it. You have to make yourself up like them to come equal, thinking that you is there, but you ain't. You was there when God made you out of. God made you. He didn't. I'm telling you again, black woman. He didn't make no mistake when he made you. He made you just how he wanted you, and you became the queen of the earth. But you changed it when you started wearing the wig, and you got out of line. There was no respect, no nothing when you started wearing that wig. Come back to natural state, and you want to know something? Brothers will love you just as better, no matter how your hair look. We'll love you. You understand what I'm saying? Right. That's what we need. The natural black shape, and not natural shape, but we need our natural black woman back of who you is. Not something else where you try to make yourself. And let me tell you something else, Carl, what you just said real quick about they trying to change and bring the women back that didn't have the bodies with the slanted butt. Let me tell you why. Because with that big hiney running around, it meant a problem. Black men gonna want it. And black men want women with big butts such as we had before. Now, those guys that allow their women to pump their butts up to get that big, they didn't have nothing for them to please them, but a black man sure did. So you see what I'm saying? That was another mistake that they made. You understand what I'm saying? We're the only kings running around that can please the women. And what are you, all the men out there?
I'm going to bail out on here, Marvin, but I thank you because we got a lot of folks who we're trying to get to. But I'm just.
Well, let me say something, though, Carl. Let me say one more last thing. I'm going to tell y'all. Carl brought me up to speed to bring it to you. And guess what? I'm coming back. And I tell you again, black lady, we love you, but just come back to your natural state, and you're going to get loved even better. That way a black man can make his decision on what he really had. See you.
All right, thanks, Marvin. 24 after the top. I will just keep moving. Let's go to Rick. Rick's in Laurel, Maryland. He's on line 5. Grand Rising. Rick, your thoughts on this Open Phone Friday?
Morning time. Grand Rising, my brother. How you today?
I'm still learning, bro.
Yes, sir. Look here. I hear talking about Shannon and man Johnny over there talking about young women. Yeah, well, I got me a young woman. I'm 65 years old. You want to guess how old she is? 55. And look, check this out, Carl. I know Barack probably wish he'd married a woman that he grew up around, because I tell you, I think Michelle Obama right now is out of pocket. What you feel about her?
Why would you say so? What has she done?
I'll tell you what she's done. First of all, she's on a podcast with her brother. And then on top of that, I didn't even know Taraji B. whatever name, Henson, had a podcast. She was on the podcast with her. And I'm like, this is a former first lady. A former first lady. It's bad enough she didn't support her husband during the time of the inauguration or one of the ex-president's funeral. She didn't stand beside him. And then on top of that, that's the the daggone stigma about the black family. Okay, she can't be there with her husband beside him. I mean, I don't understand that. And then she's on a podcast. I mean, come on, Carl.
But what is she saying? What is she saying that got you uptight?
What she's saying that got me uptight is the fact she shouldn't be out there on the podcast looking stupid, talking about stuff. Well, I told my team that I'm not going to have anything ready, so just so I can bail out, I mean, listen to this crazy stuff. What is this, man? This is a former first lady, man. She's supposed to be, it's protocol. And the tweeters are firing up again, Rick. So let me tell you, the tweeters just said nobody elected Michelle Obama, so she should be able to do whatever she wants. Yeah, well, the point of the matter, I'm just talking about protocol. Look what happened with Clinton. Okay, he was under scandal with the Lewinsky girl, his wife stood beside him when they go to places. That's all I'm saying. It's just that she's just making it just don't look right. And then on top of that, she's writing books. No problem writing books. But this beautiful woman that she also has a show on this network, Colleen Eliza, she said that in her book, when you go high, I go higher. So the whole point, I guess, was she's not going to the inauguration or the funeral is because of what, Trump? Come on now, you going against what you preach. They go high, you go higher. But I'm just saying, it's not a good look as far as her being on podcasts and stuff. That's a former first lady, man. At least you can. All right,
as I said, Rick, the tweeters are overtime. And let me just see this tweet. They're interested. Should Melania have taken naked photos then? You're going after Michelle. How about Trump's wife? But go ahead.
And then on top of that, you can see how they were always at odds with each other. And look what she did. She was always beside him, and she's still beside him. She is still beside him, regardless of what they went through. No, she shouldn't have did it, okay?
Well, Michelle has not left Barack, as far as I know. Do you know something we don't know?
What does it look like? What does it look like? That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying, it's just, regardless of what you do, whatever the case may be, but when you're in the public eye and you're a former first lady, you should at least be there with him, regardless of what y'all going through in the background. That's all I'm saying, man. So it's not a good look. A first lady on podcast. Come on, man. That's all I'm saying. It just don't look right.
Yeah, because she's saying that she's reclaiming her life because she lost it over those 8 years. She didn't have a life; it was taken from her. She's an individual, so she wants to take this opportunity now to reclaim her life. Is that an issue?
That don't sound like the typical. That sound like the tip. You know what? This feminist crazy bull. That's ridiculous, man. Come on. What, reclaiming her life? You mean to tell me she's living in poverty? Oh man,
No, her thing is she was always under a microscope. She was never very comfortable with living in the White House and rearing her children in the White House.
They
She
not
liked
in
the
the
privacy,
White House
and she lost that for 8 years, and she still lost it, by the way. But go ahead.
Look, okay. No, only thing I'm just saying it's just a bad look because of that. And you know, I'm so hyper about it because it's a black woman, it's a black couple. Regardless of how I feel about Barack Obama, I'm just talking about the image. And that's the typical thing that a black woman would say, I want to get my life back. Listen to this crazy stuff, man. But that's all I'm saying, man.
All right, we'll see if anybody agrees with you, Rika. Thank you for bringing that up, though. That's another topic we're going to be talking about in the hair salons and the barbershops this weekend. 800-450-7876, 30 minutes after the top there. Money Mike's up next. He's calling from Baltimore. Grand Rising Money Mike, your thoughts on this Open Phone Friday?
Good morning, Carl. How you doing today?
Man, I'm still learning.
All right. Well, I thought about this before I got on today, and I thought about it all week long. And I said, I'm going to bring some information that I was given as a teenager, and maybe some people will get their teenagers near the radio or their grandchildren or just take it in and give it to them. Now, Carl, probably when you first came on the air in Baltimore, I talked to you about a man born in North Carolina. His granddaughter wrote a book about his life, and this gentleman became one of the first millionaires in America. And he worked as a cemetery caretaker, taking care of the lawns and stuff like that. And then he went on to buy an insurance business. And then he ended up buying the first black funeral home in North Carolina. Now, this young man, one day, he came home from church, and he was probably about 15 years old, and he said to his mother, "Ma, why does God hate black people?" And his mother said to him, "Johnny, you just came home from church. I can't believe you asking me something like that, but I'm going to answer it." And she said to him, "Well, why do you think that God hates black people?" And he said, "Well, Mommy, my little buddy that lives up on the hill, and we live down in the valley, but they live up on the hill, and on Sunday, they get to come into town, and they get to eat Sunday dinner." And she said, "Well, Johnny, don't you like the cornbread and the greens and the ham and the sweet potatoes that I make?" And he said, "Ma, I love your cooking." So she went on to say, "Well, Johnny, what makes you think that God hates black people?" He said, "But Ma, we live down in the valley. When it floods, all of the rain comes down here, and it's just deplorable conditions. And then, Ma, when we go to church on Sunday, him and his brother had to wear the same clothes, even though they were clean and pressed. And his sister and his mother had to wear the same dress, even though it was clean and it was pressed. And he said, but Billy gets to wear different clothes, and his father wears different suits. And his mothers and his sisters, they wear different clothes." And so his mother went on to say, "Johnny, I don't know why those people don't have things, but I can tell you why we don't have the stuff that they have." And Johnny said, "Ma, I'm listening." And she said, "We never had it because your father never wanted it." Now, the reason why I'm saying that, and I'm going to lead into it, there's a parable or a passage in the Bible that says, "As a man thinketh, so shall he be." Now, some people wonder why I'm a millionaire, multi-millionaire, and I'm 63 years old of age. I turned 63 May the 6th this year, so I'm claiming it before it comes. But see, when you have athletes and you have stars and you have people in the political arena, any facet of life, and they achieve some success, in my learning, the reason why they have it is because they want it. My grandmother used to have a saying, Carl, and excuse me for saying this, but I don't think it's derogatory, but she used to say, honey, wish in one hand and shit in the other, and see which one gets spilt first. So as a young boy, I heard this for the first time at 8 years old because I wanted a new red bike. And she said, you're going to have to work for it. So I continued to work, but the message became clear when I got into my early teens. Shit in one hand and wish in the other, and see which one gets spilt first. Now, I'm going to lead into this. See, most people, when I ask them, did they want to be rich or wealthy? And they said, yeah, all right, I'd like to be. I said, but the reason I'm saying that, cause
all right, I think we lost Mike there. Mike still there? I think we lost Mike. 25 away for the top. Yeah, though. It's an open phone Friday. We'll keep going. Mike, if you get a chance, call us back and finish your story because we're halfway through that story. Let's go to Chicago, though. Brother Nkosi's waiting for us on line 6. Grand Rising, Nkosi, your thoughts on this open phone Friday?
All right. Grand Rising and Jumbo, brother. I've noticed that the government has used a 1798 law called the Alien Friends Act to deport and strip people of their citizenship, and an 1800s law to deprive women of their citizenship rights in various spots in the country. And, you know, we got a lot of legal experts in our community, and I got a question about a law that's not so old. It was 1940 that the Nationalization Act was passed, and it was 1950 that the McCarran Act was passed, and 1952 that the McCarran-Walters Act was passed. Between these laws, your citizenship can be removed for un-American behavior, such as dodging the drought. And I was wondering if these laws could be used because one of the requirements for presidency is to be a citizen. And
hold on. Does this apply to natural-born citizens? Because that's what people who are born here. Is that what you're talking about? Because that's one of the requirements to be the to become president of the United States. So you're saying if you're a natural-born American, they can still strip you of your citizenship? Is that what you're implying, Brother Nkosi?
There are a lot of laws that do that. There are a lot of laws that could take your citizenship away even if you were born here. But these particular laws are focused on people who dodge the drought. It's an un-American behavior, and you can lose your citizenship in the country for not defending the country. And
that would apply to Donald Trump, don't you think? I don't want to veer off too much, but wouldn't that apply to Trump? He dodged the drought, saying he had bone spurs or something like that?
Yeah, and they are not keeping him from playing golf today, so there's evidence that it was a lie. So, I was wondering if any white or black legal experts have ever looked at these laws. That's all I wanted to contribute. I wish somebody would look at them. I'm not a legal expert. I'm no Huey Newton, but I'm of his ilk, but I'm not him. So, Asante Sana, brother.
All right, thank you, Nkosi. Thank you for that. That's interesting, But again, does it matter? Because we see all the laws that the Supreme Court votes in favor, and they're changing the laws, trying to change the Constitution as well in favor of Donald Trump. Anyway, we got to step aside for a few minutes. When we come back, we'll take some more phone calls. It's an Open Phone Friday, family. Reach out to us at 800-450-7876, and we'll take all your phone calls next.
$14.50 WOL, your news talk station.
We gon' have
K-Style, Empire, and MMG Entertainment present a big Southern Soul and Blues backyard party Father's Day weekend, Saturday, June 14th at Lamont's Entertainment Complex, featuring Vic Allen, P2K, Terry Wright, Jeter Jones, Big G, Tina Brown, Jesse Terrell, and the Hardway Connection. Gates open at 11 a.m., showtime 2 p.m. Tickets available in La Plata at UM Ware, Universal, and T&J's Barbecue. At Memory Lane and Babs Records in District Heights and at Lamont. Also online at Eventbrite at MMGEntertainment.com. That's Saturday, June 14th, the Southern Soul and Blues Father's Day Backyard Party at Lamont's Entertainment Complex, 4400 Livingston Road, Indian Head, Maryland. For more info, call 443-857-2771. Vendors are welcome.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-672-6688. That's 800-672-6688. Again, 800-672-6688.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today.
Are you facing an unexpected financial emergency? You need WeFixMoney.com. WeFixMoney.com could help you get up to $3,000 fast. WeFixMoney.com is free to use, available 24/7, and has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. Go to the name you trust, WeFixMoney.com. If you need emergency cash up to $3,000 for bills or anything else, type WeFixMoney.com directly in your browser. That's WeFixMoney.com.
Carl Nelson here again, family. Please continue to enjoy the final weekend of April, and then join us right here on Monday morning when we review Baltimore, 10 years after the Freddie Gray riots. Former FBI agent Dr. Tyrone Powers will look at the law enforcement response to the uprising. But before Dr. Powers, attorney and former state senator Jill Carter will examine the role lawmakers played in the aftermath of the riots. Attorney Billy Murphy will also explore the legal issues surrounding the event. And Pastor Dwayne Simmons, whose church was ground zero for the riots, will also join us. Remember, all the programs are available from your favorite podcast platform. So for some more great discussions that you can participate in, please, family, enjoy your weekend first and then join us right here on Monday morning at 6 on FM 95.9 and AM 1450. WOL, where information is power.
But it's all gravy.
Now back to the Carl Nelson Show.
Hey, Grand Rising family, thanks for rolling with us on this Friday. Thanks for starting your weekend again with us. It's an open phone Fridays. We start the weekends. We give you a chance to free your mind. Reach out to us at 800-450-7876. Some other folks are going to be stopping by next week, include physician scientist Dr. Velva Bowles, Dr. V. If you know someone who's taking the jab, she's been researching what can be done if you take the jab. So she's come up with some ideas, some information she's received. Also, Mark from Anaheim is going to make a rare appearance as well. And also Holistic Doctor. Dr. Sharita is going to join us from Ghana. So if you are in Baltimore, make sure your radio's locked in tight on 1010 WLB. Or if you're in the DMV family, we're on FM 95.9 and AM 1450 WOL. All right, let's go to Detroit. Sly's waiting for us on line one. Sly, Grand Rising, your thoughts on this Open Phone Friday?
Grand Rising, Brother Carl. How's your fabulous Friday going?
It's going great.
Good, good. Hey, while holding, you left me a whole lot to unpack. I'll start with Marvin from Baltimore. Everything Marvin said was profound. Okay? I would touch and agree with everything that he said about the black woman, because there's a certain part to the black woman's body that has turned man against God. It has separated families. It's taken down governments. It has caused wars, and most recently made a white man forsake his royalty. So that tells you the power of the black woman. Okay, and then he was followed by Rick. I think Rick needs to just settle down and be a little more informed, because my humble opinion, Michelle Obama is uplifting black women who have been left in the shadows for centuries. And if Michelle Obama decided to co-host The View, I had no problem with it. Okay, and then this stuff about interracial relationships. Okay, in many cases, black women can be the most critical of black women. I get so tired of hearing these mamas telling their sons when they bring home a dark-skinned black girl, don't be bringing home no ragamuffins. Get you a white woman. Don't bring me home no nappy-headed grandbabies. I want you to get you a white woman. Okay. Now, a lot of these mothers have great influence on their sons. Okay. And at the same time, they raise their sons to be the type of man that they wouldn't want to date. Okay. And then you have a lot of these sisters out here, they don't want to be bothered with the brother because he ain't got that bag. And I'll give you an example. When I was coming up in high school and part of college, I wore glasses. Nobody want to be bothered with me because I wore specs. Okay? And I would also hear when women talk about, oh, he ugly, he dark, he too dark. Oh, he wear the same clothes every day, and blah, blah, blah. So sometimes the brother will seek his so-called jewel elsewhere. Okay, so I didn't go to my 10-year high school reunion. I went to my 20-year. Okay, and I pull up. I'm driving a Corvette at that time. All the girls that didn't want to be bothered with me, married, divorced, and they either shaped like eggs or pears now they want to be bothered. I went to my 30-year reunion. I was driving a very expensive car. Starts with the letter B. And here we go. Here come the groupies after that bag. Okay. And to go back to what I'm saying about how black women can be so critical of other black women, I got so tired of hearing black women talking about Michelle Obama as a man. They're too inept to realize this woman has strong African facial features, and she has that strong African body. And when she had on
for a second, Sly, and that rumor was started by white folks, and it's embarrassing that black people picked it up. Steve Bannon and picked it up and ran with it and laughed about it. So that was shame on them, and they're an embarrassment to the black community to even try to push that. But anyway, again, addicted to white, they don't know who they are. They should have rebuked that immediately. But go ahead and finish.
I'll tell you what. I bet you her gynecologists don't think she's a man. And George W. Bush said publicly that he had a crush on Michelle Obama. I wish I had a Michelle Obama. Okay, because that, like I said, when she had on that yellow dress and she had those guns, those arms, that showed me she's a beast in the gym. She takes care of herself. Okay.
Not only that, she's well educated. She's got a law degree from Princeton.
Exactly.
She's Ivy League.
A high level of intellect.
She's, it's not something you sure. She's attractive and a smart sister. But some brothers picked up what the white folks did, and they amplified it, and it got around. And some people thought it was funny. That's nothing funny. You don't let white people get in your head and start saying stuff like that. Come on. But go ahead, Sly. I'm sorry.
And she was astute enough not to attend the orange Jesus with white ears, his inauguration, because he's trying to uplift white people, especially white women, and beat down the black woman. So she had every right not to be at that inauguration. You know, and I believe she's more pro-black. I love Barack Obama, but I believe she's more pro-black than he may be. Okay. Now, I won't say it doesn't happen, but you very seldom hear a black man tell his daughter to bring home a white boy. Now, reportedly, allegedly, Venus and Serena Williams' father encouraged them to date white. Reportedly, allegedly.
Well, let me debunk that. I got a chance to meet her dad through Dr. Claude Anderson. If you know if he's close to Dr. Anderson, you know what kind of thought he has. He is super black. So let me just put it that way. I don't know what the daughters did, but he, you know, the conversation I had with it, we were on a three-way conversation. That brother is pro-black to the max. I don't know what the daughters did. Moving them out of Compton, you know, flipped them. But their dad is super. He and Claude Anderson, you know, espouse the same things. But go ahead, Sly. So I just wanted to debunk that too.
That's why, for the purpose of this show, I said reportedly, allegedly, because I was not a fly on the wall. Okay, and you know, a rumor would take wings quicker than the internet. Okay, as they say. A lie make it around the world before the truth gets his pants on. So that's why I said reportedly, allegedly, for the sake of this station. But you know, that really irks me when these mothers tell their sons that they don't want no nappy-headed grandbabies. Okay, so we have that, and then I remember in the 70s through the early 80s, where the black basketball players and football players had black women. But then when the new wave 80s came about, especially when that crack hit our community, everybody had to look like a baller, and you had to have that bag. If you didn't have that bag, you didn't get no play in the black community. So I'll leave it there, and I'll yield my time.
All right. Thank you, Sly. Thank you for your thoughts this morning. 9 away from the top of the hour. Glaude's in Baltimore on line 2. Grand Rising, Glaude, your thoughts on this Open Phone Friday?
Yeah, Grand Rising, everybody, Carl Nelson and everything. We all got a story to tell. Believe it or not, we all got a story to tell. And my thing is we need to just keep planting the seed and everything. And I designed a T-shirt. And on the T-shirt, it says, black don't crack, you know, black are the birds, sweet are the Jews. And when I wear that T-shirt, people love that T-shirt because they know about blackness. And talking about these snow bunnies that Omar Johnson talked about and everybody else, Shannon Sharp, do your thing. But the thing is, when a lot of us mingle with those folks in colleges and different schools, they cling on to them. And then when they leave, you know, they hook up with them or whatever for whatever reason. But what they fail to realize when, like I said, on that T-shirt, black are the birds, sweet are the Jews, and a lot of them don't know about that concept. You know, they're saying why people say that. And when white women come out there and get a brother, we know the reason why they're getting that brother. Because a lot of them, through the years, when they go on vacation, the first place they go is they go into the islands. And we know why they go into the islands to get those brothers. Trust me. And then when they hook up with them as well, the athletes, you know, they'll hook up with them so they can be treated both ways. They get their income. Like Kobe, when he died, you know, his family, his mother was having a hard time, you know, trying to keep her house and carrying on, and the person would not give them some money or to buy that house so they can keep the house. So we go through a lot, but these brothers need to know the history and need to know why we are being brutalized. And white men, the reason why they hate us so much in the system because we dating their women, and they know why their women want a black man, two ways. If you're an athlete and you can get his fun, and then otherwise, sexual-wise, they know they can get pleased that way too. So, it's a lot of reason why things go on that we need to know. And young black men, they need to know and deal with their sisters because you can't be black as birds with the Jews and everything. So they don't know about that. But I'm going to leave it at that. I did have a lot more to say, but it's been, a long hold on. So I'll leave it at that.
All right.
And,
thank you, Claude.
Yeah.
We're racing the clock now. Let's go to line 6. Let's go to Nitra. Nitra's calling from South Carolina. Grand Rising, Nitra, your thoughts on this open phone Friday?
Hi, Carl. I just wanted to call him. I've never called him before. I want to say that everybody that's listening to the Carl Nelson show this morning, please go support the movie Sinners. I was pleasantly surprised about that movie. I don't like horror movies, but that movie is so good. It's not what you expect. So I'm telling everybody that's listening to this show, please go support Ryan Coogler. He is so awesome. He has made such just a mark in the cinematic industry. Please go support him. I don't like horror, like I stated. I don't like gore, but this is not what it is. It's so educational. It's so African-centered. Please go support it.
All right. Thanks, Nitra. That's on my bucket list for this weekend. Thank you for sharing that with us. 4 minutes away from the top there. Ron's on line 3 calling from Baltimore. Grand Rising, Ron. Can you make it quick for us?
I'll make it quick, Brother Kwesi. People can go to my website at positivechangepc.com. Please click on our news and events tab and go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Department of Human Resources, HHS, has fired all workers in the programs for the LEAP programs. There were 15 individuals at HHS getting $6.2 billion out across the country to help those people who need energy assistance. Well, the funding is there, but there's nobody there to get the money out. There are a number of articles on our website. You want to make sure you look at the one that deals with the poisoning of the black community in Memphis through Elon Musk's AI data centers there, and there are a number of the key articles. One urgent thing, my last point this morning will be, if you are a resident of the District of Columbia, you need to show up for the April 29th hearing at the Public Service Commission, because the Washington Gas has applied for a $45.6 million rate increase. They've already had 2 hearings, and the last hearing is scheduled for the 29th from 6 to 8 p.m. at 1325 Dree Street Northwest. But people can get all this information.
We got to cut there. Thank you, Ron. Call in earlier next time so we can get that good information out. Family, we're done for the day. I want to thank Kevin for keeping us on time. Before we leave you, though, I want to remind you, small minds like to talk about people, like to gossip. Average minds talk about events, concerts, ball games, stuff like that. Great minds come together to discuss ideas, trying to provide some solutions to all our problems. Have a great weekend. Stay strong, stay positive. Please stay healthy. We'll see you Monday morning, 6 o'clock, right here in Baltimore on 1010 WOLB and in the DMV on FM 95.9 and AM 1450 WOL.
GJ say, Negro, please. He's putting that season on me. Damn, that's OG. Who the hell is he? Why is he in these YouTube streets? A lot of wisdom in him. When he start talking, you gon' see one and only, one and only, one and only. Don't know me because you're trying to find your way. I'm the one who's at peace. Because you're trying to find your way. I'm the one who's at peace. Negro, please, my man. OG. Oh no. OG. One and only. Yeah. One and only. One and only. Don't on me. Yeah. OG. I'm the one who's at peace. Negro, please, my man. OG. Don't on me. Yeah. Because you're trying to find your way. I'm the one who's ace. Negro, please, my man. Oh, man. One and only. Yeah. One and only. One and only. Don't know me. One and only. One and only. One only. Don't know me. Because you're trying to find your way. I'm the one who's at peace. Negro.
Is that OGJ? Spit. Negro, please. He's putting that knowledge in. Seasons on these YouTube streets. Who the hell is he? Why is he in these YouTube streets? OGJ speak. Lot of wisdom in him. When he start talking, you will see. Yeah. Damn, my brother. OG, one and only, one and only, one and only. You don't own me, you don't. I'm free, I'm free. Because you're trying to find your way. I'm the one who's at peace. Negro, please, my brother. OG, I'm the one who's at peace. Negro, please, why can't you see? I'm the one who's at peace. You having so many problems because you don't understand, because you're not free. The ancestors died for you and me. System of white supremacy, keeping you from being like me. System of white supremacy, keeping you from being like me. Negro, please, can't you see I got that African in me? African in me. You're trying to find your way, but I'm a peace. Negro, please, Negro, please, Negro, please. Why can't you see? Why can't you see? Believe. Your brother OG. Negro, please, can't you see? I got that African in me, African in me, African in me, African in me. Hey. Why can't you see? Why can't you see?
believe. Yo, brother, OG. Negro, please, can't you see? I got that African in me, African in me, African in me, African in me. Hey. Is that OGJ say, Negro, please? He's putting that season on me. Damn, that's OG. Who the hell is he? Why is he in these YouTube streets? A lot of wisdom in him. When he start talking, you gon' see one and only, one and only, one and only. Don't own me because you're trying to find your way. I'm the one who's at peace. Negro, please, my man. Oh man. OG. Because you're trying to find your way. I'm the one who's at peace. Negro, please, my man. OG. OG. One and only. Yeah. One and only. One and only. Don't on me. Yeah. OG. I'm the one who's at peace. Negro, please, my man. OG. Don't own me. Yeah. Because you're trying to find your way. I'm the one who's ace. Negro, please, my man. Oh man. One and only. Yeah.